My name is Derek Ting. I'm the producer, actor, and writer of Supercapitalist. Firstly, I'd like to thank Anisa and my sister and all the Cornell alumni who have put this event together. So we give them a round of applause. It's been a very long journey for me. It's been 6 years from an idea to actually getting a distribution deal, so we're very excited to be here. And we felt that there were so many Cornell people who participated in this film that we wanted to bring a lot of Cornell people together to see the film. I started off writing the script, and it took me a year, nights and weekends, working at a full-time job, and then raising the money, and then going into production. It was 20 days in Hong Kong, 6 days in New York, and 2 days in Macau. Post-production took us about a year and say 6 months, and then really figuring out the sales strategy and releasing it. That was kind of a chore too as well. So without further ado, please enjoy the show.
So if you want to sit down,
Sure.
we'll do a little quick Q&A here, and then we'll give it out for questions for the audience. So since this is a Cornell event, I have to say, I have to ask a little bit now. We'll go back to a little bit of the beginning and tell us a little bit about your experience at Cornell and how it affected you as a filmmaker. Did you go to movies there? Did you take classes there?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's way back, actually. I had to think really hard. It's almost like, but I have very fond memories of Cornell. I studied statistics, actually, in the ag school. It's statistics and biometry, to be more specific, as some of you guys know. It's a very small major, it's like 15 people. And I applied early decision to Cornell as well. My brother and sister went there. So I knew that, I knew very early on, even in my senior year of high school, that I wanted to go there. And then, so it was cool because my sister, kind of showed me the ropes of like, you should take these classes or you should do this. I took wines in my senior year, which was awesome. I loved taking all the physical education classes, but so in my senior year, I was literally looking for a job. And that's what everyone does. So I was like on campus recruiting, but something in me told me to sign up for an acting class. And I also signed up for the Asian American Playhouse. And I really don't know why. I think it was just something like in me, like, oh, I want to do something different, and I saw it, and I was like, oh, I'm going to sign up for it. And when I had taken the classes, at the end I was like, wow, this is really cool. I really love this stuff. It's an amazing feeling to perform, and it's a very natural thing. So that was my Cornell, going to the theater class. I even went to the part of the class to watch plays and stuff. So I watched the theater in their theater, and it was really amazing. And that's how I got started.
Okay, so after Cornell, you obviously graduated. Tell us a little bit about what you did after Cornell. Did you get involved in film at all, or is that something that waited for a little bit longer?
As any person who spent money on an education, my parents put me through college. I got a couple offers, and I took a job at Mercer Consulting, so I was consulting, and I really wasn't thinking to do acting. Although I think it was weird because this is the time when there's all these consulting jobs. You guys remember, like 98 was like the Lloyd Douge and PwC, and then they're just all coming and they're really being nice to you. They fly you in for, like, it was amazing that time, and then of course a couple of years it wasn't so good. So I had chosen New York because I felt like if I wanted to figure out what I want to do with my life, I thought New York City was a great place to do it. And I chose the job because it made so much sense to me. It was in New York. It was a job that I could. It wasn't like the longest hours either, and it was a place. It wasn't traveling a lot too, which I was a little bit scared of. I didn't want to be flying my plane every week, which I thought consulting does a lot. So 9/11 hit. So I was there for 9/11, and it was that point where. I felt like that life was too short and that you couldn't, you got to pursue what's in your own heart. So I immediately decided to make a transition from where I was working to acting. And so, it wasn't like I quit because it's expensive here. So I just literally just moonlighting, and I was taking steps. Like, what does it take to be an actor? You gotta get headshots, you gotta train. So I studied classes and all that stuff. So just step by step. Yeah.
So how did you get into, now we'll start talking a little bit more specifically about the movie. How did you get the initial idea, initial motivation to start writing the movie?
Yeah. So as an actor, I found out that it's really hard. Just even being an actor, it's just really hard to be successful. The chances are just 1 in a million. So I felt like you gotta learn filmmaking. That's something I just determined very quickly. So I started doing that, and then I got the opportunity to move to Hong Kong with my wife. She actually got the transfer, and I was working here in New York, and I thought, this is. I was fine, but I was plateauing, and so I shook it up a little bit.
You're listening to Screen Vision Center.
Yes, we are. So I moved there, and then worked at CNN. Actually, I was able to make a transition to media, so I worked at CNN as a producer, and then quickly though, even though I was doing so well, I felt like yet again I'm so close but yet so far. So I left CNN to start writing treatments for films. So Supercapitalist, when it came along as an idea, as you kind of have these folder full of ideas, and you're walking on the street like, what could I do? I was like, finance in Asia, and it's hot, and like I know all these like crazy characters here. Wouldn't it be cool to link the two cities together? And that was kind of the entrepreneurial idea. It was like, I love this idea. It's really good. It's like, it's original, and I couldn't find, you do your search on the internet, you like can't find anything else that anybody had done before. So I just went after it.
And
that was long.
And I'll ask one more question, and I'll have you guys warm up. I want to open it up to the audience, but the characters in the film, how did you come up with them? Was there any inspiration to them, and are you anything alike to the character that you play in the movie?
Oh, I've been asked this question before. My parents they're still alive. They're amazing. They've been very supportive. They're not. My mom's not a tiger mom, for sure. With Connor, I wanted to create this character, and create his motivations, like why he was driven. And so I just really went back. Why do people do things the way they do? And usually kept on coming back to family. So Connor was a challenge for me because I had to figure out what is it like for you not to grow up with your father. I mean, that's huge because your father has so much impact on how you interact with people, how you communicate, and all those things. So that was a huge challenge. You do a lot of research. You talk to people, and the director, who's a good friend of mine, actually, he actually lost his father at an early age. So I felt like working with him, we could talk about the character, and I could deliver something realistic.
And the final question, for me at least, you have a lot of Cornellians that are involved in the film, which is amazing. So how did you assemble the team to do this film? How did you recruit people? I mean, I'm guessing your sister and your wife obviously had to do it. Yes?
No,
So
no.
it was their love. But how did you recruit the team? I was very impressed actually with the quality of the film and the shooting and the storyline. Everything was very well done. So how did you assemble the strong team, including the director? I mean, you said he's a friend, but how did you get your team together to make it happen?
It was all because of my education.
I like that.
Well, that could be a long answer. That I have long answers to everything. But really, take it back to statistics. You take bets on people because we didn't have a lot of money. Does anyone know the budget here?
$6 million, right? You haven't sold it yet?
Well, as you know, you guys know that we got a distribution deal in April, so we did achieve that. But our budget for making the film was under $500,000 US.
Did you ever look at how that would compare to shooting in New York? Just out of curiosity?
We did shoot in New York, 6
Well,
days.
obviously you did, but if you shot the whole thing in New York, any idea what the job would be? Just proportion.
Well, okay, so to finish the question first is that when you don't have a lot of money, you can't make a lot of mistakes. So I literally would look at the person as to what they could do, and every person, we talk, literally sit down and say, hey, this is what we want to do, and this is the vision, and spend the time to explain what we're trying to accomplish, and really understand, does this person have the skill sets and abilities that would make sense, and then to bring and match people too, because this is not a singular effort, is to bring them together, and if you have weaknesses and strengths, you pair them up so that they can succeed. And then me as a producer, it's in my best interest to help them succeed. So that's what I try to do is if someone's weak here, then you get over there and you support them, help them. And with the family thing, I mean, it's just sometimes it's just a lot of it. My wife and I, we work together, so naturally we're together all the time. So then she knows me very well. We've gotten a chance to work together, and then now we think very similarly too. Not in everything, but very capable, competent. And then my sister too as well. We've been talking about the project for so long that even on the marketing stuff, which she's been helping out tremendously. She already knew how to tell the story, how to pitch it, how to talk about what we were doing, because she's very, and then obviously all of her other skills as well. I think complemented that. So I don't really try to. Whenever you're working, we're trying to find people to work with. You don't try to fight it. You don't try to fight finding person X. You just, if you find someone that's good, you start working with them, and through your family, then at least they'll be trustworthy and loyal and help you because they have your best interests at heart.
All right, I want to open it up to the audience for questions.
Yeah, I think maybe we could bring together some of the other
Yes, please.
people as well, like Joyce, and Joyce is a producer. All the still photography that you see in social media and stuff, is through Joyce, and then David Ho, who's our line producer in New York, who can answer your question about shooting in New York. And then Emily, who's one of our associate producers. If you know some of the New York production values, you can talk to her about that as well. Bring up my sister as well. We have a really awesome write-up in Forbes, and literally it's because of her. We did not know who Martin Frisden was, who's the chief global strategist for BNP Paribas, and writes about financial accuracy. She really literally sought him out, which was amazing. That's a huge win for us. And then Kenny, who's also from Cornell, he's been the guy behind the marketing. Get over here. We graduated the same year, and he's been, he's a business process guy from Goldman, and he jumped. I I was like, Kenny, you need to jump on board and help us, manage all this stuff, and that's been amazing too. So, did I miss anybody? Huh? Dennis, but he's not here tonight. Okay.
And raise your hands if you're a Cornell alum up there. Right? Yeah. Nice.
So, and my brother Dennis did he composed some of the music, so he flew out for a month to work with Ben Robinson, who did all the work together on the original score. So the opening sequence that you hear is the melody is from him, and the dinner scene, which I really love. That music is his too as well.
So if we have questions, I know we had one that was opened up here, Tom. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to defer that to David since he's up here about New York productions and their costs. If we shot here in New York, which we did for 6 days, but be reminded that most of it was a Hong Kong movie, so the locations make sense. But maybe talk about the logistics or the costs or things New York productions.
Thanks, Derek. It really comes down to one thing, and that's you have to learn how to negotiate. And negotiate very, very well, very hard. And you have to win people over for, I refer to this movie as a cause almost. Because most people are in New York City like, hey, I'm busy, I got a lot of things to do. And everybody else wants my time as well. So you've got to give them a reason why you have to stand out more than everyone else who's knocking on the door. And I've known Derek for a long time. He's been working on the script, and I personally came on board because I believed in the story that Derek was writing, and so it actually became a very easy pitch for me to actually just go to people and just say, hey, I'm working on this project, and this is what it means to me, and it'd be great to us. And I've been working in New York for maybe like 7 to 8 years in film production. So I already had a good network of people. I already knew a lot of difficulties that are involved in a lot of things that you have to address on the film shoot. And then the New York set came together really, really fast. Maybe just I'd say like 3 to 4 weeks before they actually landed here in New York, and we had to shoot. And they actually got on the plane back to Hong Kong the last day we shot. So there was no time to twiddle our thumbs. So we just had to impress people on our ambition, and basically be honest with people that we weren't Hollywood, but we're trying to do something big. And honestly, it came down to there's just a lot of good people here in New York, and when they see what you're doing, it's not always about the money. They will actually come out of the way to give you a hand. And then as far as negotiating goes, I handle the crew, a lot of logistics, equipment. We got an amazing camera for like bottom basement price. The DP was amazed that he actually had access to it. But as for like a lot of other stuff, I really should defer to Emily because she negotiates some like amazing stuff on her own. You want to talk about? Yeah.
Hi everyone. In terms of negotiation, unlike David, I actually came from LA, so I didn't really have a network of people here. When I had started working in the business, I actually worked with and casted for some films such as John Singleton and what have you, and had just traveled along and finally found my way back into film production when I moved here to New York 3 years ago. So a lot of the network that I touched base with were actually acquaintances who I basically had discussed things while we were even filming on set. For instance, the jet plane. I guess I would like to know probably how much you think that jet plane cost us. Yeah, are there any hints?
Anyone has any ideas?
Any?
Back here? Come on. 50,000?
Well, basically, the jet plane costs $8,000 per hour. We use it all day, and that doesn't even count fuel, which is probably about $3,000 for fuel. However, with a few negotiations and hopefully in branding some items as well, we were able to get that for free. So we wanted to thank Liberty Jet for that. If ever you guys need to use Liberty Jet, please do. We owe them a lot. And also our friend Star Vodka for that. So, a lot of people were very gracious. They opened their house to us. A lot of the Park Avenue condos, they gave it to us for less than a couple $100s. And we're very pleased with what we received. And hopefully with our professionalism and the relationships we have built, that we'll be able to use them in future products and productions as well.
Anybody else have another question they want to ask? Anything at all? All right.
How long did it take you actually to make the entire movie? What was the time frame?
Yeah.
Can you repeat the question?
How long did it take to make the movie? You mean from what?
Beginning to end.
6 years for me. And then the shooting days were so fast. Like I said, it's under 30 days in 3 countries. But do you want to talk about what it's like shooting in Hong Kong? What it's like? Okay.
Well, I mean, Derek wrote the script, so for him it's been total 6 years from the beginning. I probably got more involved from some of the investment phase, so probably 3-4 years. So some of the investment, they're going into actually knowing that we can start production, and did pre-production for 3 to 6 months. Actual production was 30 days, less than 30 days, as Derek said. 6 days in New York, 20 in Hong Kong, and 2 days in Macau. Then going with about a year of post-production, another year to find distribution marketing, which is where we're at now, and it's just the beginning in terms of ramping up theatrical release in different cities, and also at the same time, last Friday we released on VOD iTunes. For production, again, it's 30 days, but it's a lot of planning because obviously you want to make best use of the days that we booked everyone. And as they talk about how you have a low budget, a tight budget, and you want to make use of every single hour and personnel. So in Hong Kong, a lot of planning goes into finding the right people. Derek also talked about working with the right people. And that includes a lot of the cast and crew, of course. And in the US, it's pretty much a standard to do proper casting. But in Hong Kong, it depends on projects. A lot of it based on relationship and kind of a quick, process to find the people. But for us, we went through and made sure we did a proper casting process for all the different actors and actresses. The main actress actually sent in a Vimeo to do the casting, and we loved it, and flew her into Hong Kong to do the final reading. And we're very lucky to be able to work with the 2 veteran Hong Kong actors as well. And we tell a story because we made them read as well. But they've been in 80 to 100 movies, and both Hong Kong International, and very experienced. But they really love the script. It's about the story, and it's about identifying so they love the project to start with, and they're willing to just kind of go along with the process and see how we do it, and kind of understand, and to make sure that they work well with us as well. So they're really gracious to do that. So I think that's kind of the main thing with production, and get it right, in the beginning, and you'll have a smooth process ongoing.
Thank you. So, one more question. Go ahead.
What was filmed in Macau?
Christine? Do you have a guess, or?
No. Christine.
What was shot?
What was filmed
It was shot in Macau.
What parts?
Has anyone ever been to Macau here?
Oh, wow.
Okay, so does someone want to answer that question? That's right. That's Grand Lisboa, which is Stanley Ho's casino. He's a mogul out there. He's pretty much the equivalent of Wynn over here in Vegas. Sorry?
All right, there was one question in the back, I believe. Yeah? Go ahead. There's a Forbes article.
Yeah.
Question. There was a Forbes article about your cast.
The actual story is, okay, there's you guys saw the poker scene. Poker has taken off in Hong Kong, which is amazing. And that was literally the last day that location was going to be open. And then, so, the story is, it's a very short story. Like, 2 of them that were there, 2 people who were just, they were like background, they saw a sign saying, hey, we're closing down.
And so, and we're, next day is the last day. So they went back the next day, and then the police raided it, and then they got arrested and thrown in jail. But if they hadn't gone shot in our, been in our film, then they wouldn't have seen the sign, and they wouldn't have gone back. So it's kind of funny. Makes for a good. I mean, so many good moments like that on our set.
We'll take one last question, and then we'll close it up. Go ahead.
Yes. The other characters like Clinton and Mark, were any of them based off of people you met during your corporate days? Or?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I did a lot of reading and research, and I hung out with a lot of bankers. Mark is based on Carl Icahn and Dan Loeb. Actually, Linus read this article that I had sent to him, and he's like, "Oh, this guy does yoga." So he told me I want to do yoga in the film. So we wrote this yoga scene, which actually happens to be the location happens to be my sister's roof. So, and if you look at the movie, and then there's a scene where he gets, where I call him up, and then I'm like, hey, we got you, and he's like, that's the same roof. So we use that location twice. Yeah, honestly, I've met people like that, and then, I wanted to write a story about that. Obviously, though, it's a movie, so. I had some liberties to create these characters and balance them with, backstories and why are they doing what they're doing, and even the big tycoons as well. I did a lot of research. Even if you look, even down to the names, Donald Chang. He's there's a very famous public figure called Donald Trump. So I use that name, and there actually is a Victor Chang, but he's not necessarily that Victor Chang. But there's just much research and trying to really get it right as best possible, as a filmmaker and a writer. So.
Okay. Last one right there, and for real, this is the last one because.
What's the next movie?
Good question. Good question. I like that. What's next? I like that question. Good way to end. What's next for you?
It takes place in Ithaca, New York.
Casting right now.
Statistician who, I have many treatments that I want to do. There's a bunch I'm working on, and I think for all of us, it's just really thinking about what will be the next step. So there's always a plan, but I don't want to announce anything yet. But there's definitely a plan.
We'll be looking out for that. So we want to thank you for being here and your entire team as well. Thank you everyone for coming as well. So we'll be having a little happy hour literally across the street in Pangea. They have a Cornell Big Red Sangria special, which I like sangrias, so I will be going myself. So feel free to come over with the gang. Literally stay for 5 minutes, stay for 20. Stay for an hour, have dinner, whatever you'd like, and do a little bit more networking, literally across the street, Pangea. All right? Well, thank you once again for coming and supporting, and hope to see you in another event soon.
Oh, sorry. Just one thing. I think some of you guys don't know about our distribution. We got a day and date, which is a really tough spot to get. And what that means is cable, VOD, iTunes, and theaters all at the same time. It's a release strategy that is the wave of the future and what we're doing. And also, we're actually releasing in 9 countries in Asia on iTunes. We're one of the first to go global day and date, which I'm happy to announce. And then Australia, New Zealand, UK, and Scandinavia. So what would be great is if you enjoy the movie, please, online, just write something nice and
tell your friends.
Tell your friends, please.
Like it on Facebook.
Yeah, because we don't have the huge, big blockbuster budgets. We just have ourselves working hard on it. Thank you very much.